I'm Dr. Weston. I'm Associate Professor of Food Sciences at the University of Nottingham. I always had an interest in food. I liked cooking, but I was always challenged by why things were where they were, the structure and the colour and the taste and the texture. So I was always looking a bit deeper, but I certainly didn't think of it as anything that I wanted to do as a career. It was sort of accident, really. I ended up doing a master's course after I graduated, but even then I didn't really think I wanted to enter the industry. I went back to work in research. So it was sort of by accident, I'd say. For me, it's been a flexible career development. Certainly wasn't planned along the way, but I would certainly say that I've made sensible choices and I've not closed my mind to opportunities. So it's having a balanced approach, perhaps. But yes, certainly in the way where I am at the moment, the academic side of life mixed with the industry experience, I think makes me a better and possibly more credible educator for the type of food science I teach. And back before I entered the food industry, working in universities gave me that scientific grounding, which was useful for my CV and marketing myself. I think there's been a couple of highlights for me. My first management job, when I got a job in a flour mill in Bristol, and that was a real cue for me to actually get a management job and be a manager, and that was important to me at the time, and I still look on it fondly. The other area for me, I think, was when I started to launch products and work with teams and launching different and new products. And I think that when I was at Mavitti's and in chilled foods was something that I personally liked. And then finally doing my PhD while I was an academic. So it doesn't stop in terms of those highs and joys of life, even when you get to my old age. It's challenging, but I think most people who have got rewarding careers would say that there are ups and downs and challenges in a rewarding career. That's effectively what you are paid for. People get paid very good money in good roles in the food industry, but they expect you to work hard for them. And I think I'm the sort of person that enjoys that challenge, and I get a lot of personal benefit from doing that. So yeah, it can be tough, but what I think I like most about the food industry are two things. One is the fact that as a technical person, I get to use the science in real life context. And the second thing is no day is the same. And a lot of jobs in life can sometimes feel a little bit repetitive. It doesn't feel that way in the industry. Keeping flexible of mind, because you can move around between roles. Certainly if you entered as a graduate or even after sixth form or post 16, if you entered a role within a food manufacturing company or retail, they would encourage you to move around, perhaps within different roles, to try out new things. And that's where for graduates, graduate schemes are enjoyable, because they could do one in operations, one in product development, and one maybe in QA. But I think the same thing's the same in retail, the food sector, from supply chain all the way through. We're very lucky that there's a lot of different roles within each company, and you can ask to move and experience different types of roles while you're doing that. So I think that's great. And actually, I was talking to someone only last week, and apart from being a someone in the medical profession, I can't think of a job you can't do in the food industry. So you can be in marketing, you can be in sales, you could be in finance, operations, you could be in technical engineering. The world's your oyster. And so in terms of how to choose and what to find, I think it's about looking for what you think you're good at, and think about the types of careers that look for those types of qualities in a person. You can be both and still be successful. And there's a number of success stories around with CEOs all over the place where they've both got graduate backgrounds and worked from the shop floor upwards, whether it be in retail or manufacturing. So I think there's a place for both. And I've certainly employed people, highly successful people, in both when I was in the industry. There is a place for graduate roles in engineering and technical roles, because you do need graduate level scientific or engineering qualifications for certain roles, so that will always remain the same. But what is great about the food industry, to a large extent, it is a meritocracy. It's about how well you do in the job you do, and therefore the progression goes from that. we will always be looking for great communicators and great team players in the food industry, no matter what role you end up working in, because there's so many people involved on a daily basis. And I think that's an important part for us all to remember, that there's very few roles where you don't have to work with other people, and most of us really enjoy it. But the other aspects I think are coming to the fore now are the ability to work in the digital age and being able to communicate effectively in digital platforms, to be able to make decisions remotely. These are not possibly new ideas for people, but they are ones that we're going to have to work a lot faster to be great at, and we're all feeling that the industry is one of them. The other area which links to it quite clearly is adaptability. But I think people in the food industry have always been fairly adaptable, especially in manufacturing and retail, maybe not necessarily in research and development and laboratory, but they will be required to adapt to changes in environments. Supply chain and logistics have had to react so fast compared to maybe just reacting to the weather perhaps a year ago. They're now reacting to pandemics. So I think the qualities they're looking for nowadays are flexibility to associate with that communication and teamwork and hard work that we expect generally from food sector employees. I think the first thing is that get the qualifications and skills that are right for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a degree, but while you're young, get those qualifications that you think will help you along the way. You can get them later, but while you're younger, it's a lot more easy with your personal life to do that. The second one would be open to options. Don't close your mind to particular companies. Think of small businesses and large ones. Think of different types of sectors. Think of retail and manufacturing. Don't just think of one or the other. So think of opportunities and work for that. And then the final thing for me, and it's important, so important in this day and age, is network. Network in everything you do. Communicate with people, get to know them, because the food industry is so large, yet it's so small, and I'm always bumping into people from years ago.